Kristen, and today I will be giving you a presentation on the history of brewing and the prohibition. Do you ever wonder where brewing originated or where it came from? Why did we even start brewing beer? How did the prohibition affect brewers and us? I will answer these questions as well as give you the facts and information about the history of brewing and the prohibition. So to go to our first question, where did brewing originate? History.com says, if you're searching for original brewmaster to toast the next time you drink a beer, you might be out of luck. It is hard to attribute the invention of beer to a particular culture or time period. However, they could narrow it down to the world's first fermented beer some 12,000 years ago. They say that civilization back in the olden days based their crops on things like wheat, rice, barley, and maize, which in turn explains how they could have easily stumbled upon the fermentation process and started brewing beer. So we have an idea of when beer and alcohol was invented, but why did we start brewing it in the first place? So to answer our next question, why did we start brewing beer? Most people have said that back in the olden days, people brewed beer and alcohol because it was sanitary for them to drink, unlike their water, which was infected with human feces, which made them sick. In the book The Naked Pint, author Christina and Halley explained that early Christians really took to beer. The monks got into brewing and found a certain calling, so to speak. The monastery was often the brewery and hotel in the olden days, and Christian monks during the medieval times was said to use beer as currency for payments and taxes. So you can see that brewing was an essential part of living, as it was used for currency. In the old days, it was still considered legal until in 1920, when people in America thought beer to be destroying their lives, which in turn caused the Prohibition era. So to answer our third question, how did the Prohibition period affect brewers and us? History.com says again, the result of the long hard-fought campaign by the Dries, Anti-Saloons, Women's Christian Temperance Union, and other prohibition advocates considered it to be America's national curse and believed that the federal ban would lower crime rates, strengthen families, and generally improve national character. But the noble experiment, as it came to be known, only lasted a decade. What went wrong? For one thing, it was bad for the economy. Thousands of jobs were eliminated when breweries, distilleries, and saloons were shut down. Despite grand expectation that banning alcohol would increase other goods and entertainment, the results turned out to be the opposite. Restaurants couldn't make enough money without liquor sales, and theater revenue actually declined. The federal government lost valuable money of about $11 billion, and at the same time cost them $300 million just to enforce the ban. A fun fact that you probably didn't know, it was never illegal to drink during the Prohibition. The 18th Amendment states that manufacture, sales, or distribution of intoxicating liquors is prohibited, not its consumption. People certainly did not stop drinking, but they did start buying more illegal liquors. Bootlegged alcohol was of less quality and considered dangerous. On average, 1,000 people died every year during the Prohibition from effects of drinking tainted liquor. And what about the banning of alcohol equaling less crime? Turns out the crime rate during the Prohibition went up. In addition to gangsters like Al Capone, who made $60 million annually off of bootlegged operations, the illegal alcohol trade made law-abiding citizens into criminals. By the end of the 1920s, America began to give up on the Prohibition when President Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected in 1932 with the pledge to end Prohibition. In 1933, the 21st Amendment repealed the 18th Amendment ban on alcohol. It was the first time in history that a constitutional amendment had ever been repealed. Some say that Franklin D. Roosevelt celebrated with his favorite drink, a dirty martini. In the last few minutes, you have heard me give a general overview about the history of brewing, as well as giving facts about the prohibition. So the next time you're drinking a beer, think about those monks and their brewing, medieval beer taxes, Franklin D. Roosevelt drinking a dirty martini.